Greetings and good day. Today, I thought I would do something that I have wanted to do for the longest time. I've never gotten around to it. I would like to tell you my story, how I got into this unusual occupation called homeopathy, because I grew up in the same world you did, but there were some events that I saw along the way that really changed the trajectory of my whole life. The first one happened when I was 4 years old. I was 4, my sister was 2, and my brother was a newborn. It was a bitter cold February day. My mom went upstairs to get my sister from her nap, and I can still see her coming down the steps, panic in her eyes. She's not breathing, her lips are blue. What does this mean? What does this mean? And all of a sudden there was a big kerfluffle, which I have no memory of. I don't remember. Because they were getting us ready and they were going to bring her to the hospital. They dropped my brother and I off at some dear neighbors, Orville and Phyllis. And as I stood in that seafoam green entryway, I had this little chat with myself. I said, I'd like to be a doctor because they're going to bring my sister to someone and hopefully they'll make her all better and this will all just go away. But then I thought, well, what if they don't make her better? Then what does that mean? Does that mean we don't get to play anymore? Or does that mean she has to go live somewhere else? Because does that mean if you don't get better, you die? Lots of big things going on in a very little girl's head. Well, found out she had seizures, and to this day, they completely disrupt our whole family. So that is why health is so important to me, because illness is so disruptive. My next exposure to homeopathy was in my 20s. A dear friend was going to go on a vacation, I think, and she had flight anxiety so terrible she couldn't even get on the plane. And she went to a homeopath and was able to fly. It really helped her with that anxiety. So my next exposure for me, or actually my first exposure for me, was I was getting pretty bad headaches, and I went to this practitioner and I got aconite. And I remember taking it and feeling like a lightness, a clearness, something was different inside. It didn't really help me with the headaches, but it did help me with the anxiety I was feeling at the time. So the headaches were still pretty nasty, so I went to the health food store, I went to the book and looked, remedies and for headache, and I brought them home to no avail. They didn't work. I wrongly assumed that homeopathy was spotty or hit and miss. What I didn't understand at the time was there are hard and fast rules with homeopathy, and there is some flex in there, but if you go too far beyond those rules, you're going to have spotty results. It isn't going to be as impressive. So the years rolled on, and I eventually had children, and one day my daughter hurt her finger, and she just screamed bloody murder. I couldn't get to her finger to see what was wrong. So someone had told me, well, if you have children, you should have arnica in the house. So okay, if I had a tube there a couple of years, so I ran inside, spin the lid off, and the label was completely bumped and bruised because I'd had it for 2 years, not used it. Well, this was the time. The minute it touched her tongue, she stopped screaming. My third encounter, what is this? So my next encounter was with my hubby Tom, and I consider him to be my greatest teacher because of this day. The Northwestern Academy of Homeopathy was starting a student clinic in the school, and they were looking for real people, real cases, real life situations, and they were going to be having a student clinic. And I suggested he would go to this. Okay, well, maybe it was a little more than a suggestion, but he went. One day, this little box came in the mail, and here out fell nux vomica. Oh, so interesting. So I gave him the box, and he took his remedy, and that was on a Monday. On Saturday, it happened. He was doing his taxes. Now everybody's crabby when they're doing taxes, right? Yeah, he's no exception. The other thing was that it was early spring, and everybody's waking up, and the kids were giggling and laughing, and they wanted to go outside, which meant that they had to run right through the house, right behind his desk where he was doing taxes. And they were screeching so loud. They were having so much fun. I thought, oh no, it's going to hurt his ears. He has real sensitive ears to sound. And I get that. I mean, when your ears are sensitive to sound, it doesn't matter whether it's happy noise or sad noise, icky noise, bad noise. Noise hurts your ears. So I just sort of braced myself for it. Oh, why does it have to be this way? But you know what happened instead? The kids ran right behind his desk, and I could hear they were out in the backyard. Oh my gosh, did he go to the grocery store or Home Depot? No, you don't go when you're doing No, you don't do that when you're doing taxes. And I thought, oh, you don't suppose it was at Nux Vomica, do you? Whoa. So I peered around the door, and I said to him, excuse me? Did you hear the kids run behind your desk? And he said, yeah. And I said, well, they were really loud. And he said, yeah. And I said, well, didn't it hurt your ears? And he said, no. Then he said, but, and then I said, didn't that bother you? And he said, well, no, but you're bothering me. I really want to get these taxes done. Oh, okay, right. In other words, get out of here, right? But it was at that moment where I went back to the kitchen and I just stood there. I just realized wellness is more than no muscle cramps. Wellness is more than no aches, no pains, digestive disturbances. It's more than that. It's about how you are in the world. It's how you process your world. It's how you process aggravations, frustrations, energy. Wellness is huge. And what was this about homeopathy that had this kind of potential? I was so intrigued. Later on, I was able to go to school, and it was 4 years, and every month we had class. And I'll tell you, after those weekends, you'd see me driving down this highway, tears just streaming down my face partly because my brain hurt so bad. Every middle-aged brain cell was being stretched beyond capacity. And part of it was, am I ever going to get this? But the biggest part of that was, oh, wow, this is beyond whatever I hoped or dreamed of. This is so incredible. I couldn't believe I could do this. So now here I am 20 years after that, right? And now I look back at that little 4-year-old kid and I think, she was a pretty out-of-the-box thinker. She had a clever idea there, She had a really good observation about the world for one so young. Well, but now I'm thinking, not so much. You know what? If a 4-year-old can figure out that there's more than one way to look at healing, to restore health, to try to look for solutions, if a 4-year-old can figure out there's more than one way to do that, I don't think it's rocket science. Not rocket science at all. Not only that, there's a whole bunch of different ways, a whole bunch of different modalities that you can employ, that you can try to get your health back. So I guess that's my story. I'm sticking to it, and good luck to you as you continue your health journey to find solutions in your world for what's going on for you.